Washed idiot, Cressida. I'm on the fence about this one. Neutral.
They meow rather than answer a question. School children now identifying as animals. So children at school in East Sussex were reprimanded last week for refusing to accept a classmate's decision to self-identify as a cat. The Year 8 pupils were told they would be reported to a senior leader after their teacher said they had really upset the fellow pupil by telling them, "You're a girl." So this teacher has had an argument with the students, which there's this amazing thing. So they're arguing back and forth, and the kids are saying, "But I don't agree with this. This is my opinion. That's your opinion." I think the kids are having quite a sophisticated.
They're 13-year-old girls. I mean, they're really on it.
And the teacher comes back and says, "You need a proper educational conversation." I would say yes, they do, about equality, diversity, and inclusion, and then threatened to tell the child that she needs to go to a different school. So they didn't really get any discussion. It was just, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, they were berated. She berated their mothers. They said that was very sad that their mothers would agree with them. She said you'll be asked to write a statement like we're in the Soviet Union. She said, "I'm reporting you to Miss Willis for having opinions."
And she also said there are 3 sexes. There aren't. There are 2 sexes.
Utter madness. And the video's gone viral on Twitter. It's infuriating. Yeah. These people, Josh, they sort of... And I've seen it with the police when they say, "We need to check your thinking and people can have a trans brain and all this." They kind of like... They just accept the new dogma as just a given. They don't question it, and then they just spew it out in positions of authority.
Imagine what happened is some group was brought in by the school a couple of years ago, and they had the half day off, and this is like some inset day, and someone gave a presentation and showed a gingerbread man and said, "Look, we want to be kind to our students and we want to make them feel included, and there's that, you know, there are 100 sexes, and this is what you do if it happens, and don't tell the parents," and all of this stuff. And it was all false.
The kids went, "Brilliant, we're going to have some fun with this." And they're asking...
But no, but this is what I'm saying, they did it to the teachers,
right.
And then the teachers are the ones who've been then pushing it since then because they want to feel all right on and whatever.
But you can, I mean, I don't know, maybe some of the children do think they're a cat, but there's all these questions in the article. Is it childhood play that's spilling over into teenhood? Is it a mental health issue? I think it's the kids having a laugh, isn't it? There's one child who wants to wear a cape and identifies the moon. I mean, I don't...
Well, in that case, but actually is a little bit, as one of the charities that is trying to deal with all of this stuff argues, is the Safe Schools Alliance, is actually this whole, like, cat, dog, animal thing has a much darker origin in that they're the furries, and it's a sexual fetish. And so they're saying, you know, it's a red flag if a child comes in and starts talking about being a cat. You've got to go and check their internet out, check out what forums they're on, because this is the kind of stuff that's being pushed there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a social contagion. And also, it's a bunch of needy kids and probably with mental health issues and whatnot. But what you don't have to do is necessarily indulge it. And as they're saying in this article, even though this happened a couple of days ago, but what the Telegraph is saying is that this isn't some isolated incident. This is happening in secondary schools across the country. And because I think what happened before, there was like a sort of a bit of a prank, and someone said that they'd left out a litter box for a kid, and it turned out to not be true. So I think journalists have been slightly burnt by this before, but now they've actually looked a bit further. This is happening.
Yeah, and we've got the video in this case, and it's absolutely shocking. And she links it to homophobia, the teacher, which is absurd. And yeah, she repeats this thing. It's about equality, diversity, inclusion. Absolutely buying into the woke buzzwords. Even the spokesperson that came out for the school said, "We're committed to offering inclusive education." Inclusive is another questionable buzzword to me. And the teacher didn't. If she'd have presented it as a debate, it's still stupid to say I can be a cat. But if she said this is a debate between a sort of this side, which is the woke mad side, and the sort of normal side, but she didn't even do that. She just said, "No, you're wrong. You're bigots, basically. You're homophobic. Your mothers are wrong, and you need to go to a different school." Absolutely disgusting. The one thing I'll say is it gives me a mixture of hope and sort of despair that the kids were the ones that had to be sane and stand up to the teacher, so at least they get it because they see through.
Well, I've said this before.
I totally agree.
I've got a 14-year-old, and there is pushback amongst that because it's usually the kids who are a little bit older who have really been going through this, and now the young kids are just going, "This is stupid."
OK. All right, we've got to move on.